Well, we hope you guys enjoyed that. Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you guys very much for joining us here. Show number 1238. I'm Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
This is the last show of 2019. By the way, that is Elf Yourself, or it used to be called Jib Jab, or maybe Jib Jab is something else. But that video was done on a website called Elf Yourself. You can actually download it costs $4. They'll create the video for you, and you can download it and then keep it for posterity. But they also do a URL that you can send off to family and friends. I'm going to post that on Facebook and Twitter and all the usual places later on. It's very funny. Had Melissa peeing herself earlier this afternoon when I played it. And it's really easy to do. You just upload photos from your phone. I think they've got an app on the iPhone, too, so you can more easily do the videos. So check it out at elfyourself.com.
Mo, Shawn, you've got svelte.
Svelte. I'm svelte. I'm very svelte now.
The only time I'll ever see him dance.
Yes, that's right. That is absolutely true. That's 100% true. It's the only time you ever see me dance. On tonight's show, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple on the Loop, loopinsight.com. We're going to talk to him about the year and the decade in review. Did Apple have a good year? Did Apple have a good decade? Did technology have a good year, a good decade? We'll talk about that stuff. As I said, this is the last show of 2019, so we're going to have your Christmas greetings. Thank you very much to the folks who sent off Christmas greetings. We'll play those greetings just after the Jim Dalrymple segment. And on tonight's show, we have our very last I Have a Question with Melissa for 2019. Melissa, what is your question?
Oh, I'm up. Well, now that I know, I always feel like I have to excuse myself for not knowing these things.
And you shouldn't think that way.
So now I know what Bluetooth is.
Okay.
It's a short range, like my phone to my speaker while I do yoga. And this came up because I wanted to get, make sure he's not in here. I wanted to get Damon the bulbs for his lamp,
Light
the way
bulbs,
we do, and he can turn them on and change colors and all that. So Shawn said, "Oh, good, we'll be able to manipulate his lights from our room." So if he's in his room, of course, Shawn is going to be turning his lights on and off. And I said, "You can't do that." And he said, "Yes, I can."
Oh.
Which got us onto the subject. I think Shawn called it the Wi-Fi of things.
Internet of Things, IoT.
Internet of Things.
Yes.
So my question is that a security risk? Or should we be concerned if we start having a house that's wired into the internet for turning on the oven or our security cameras or things like that? Is that something we should be worried about?
The short version is yes. We'll talk more about it later on the show, but certainly the short version is anytime any device is able to be connected to the internet, there is a potential for security risk. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But it's a good question. Also sending thoughts out again to our friends in Australia. It was 44 degrees. Even Fahrenheit, that's warm, but Celsius. So 118, 120 degrees in areas of southern Australia. Chundles and hopefully Scott, Thrift, and Mr. Fabulous. Mr. Fabulous? Mr. Wonderful?
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful, sorry.
I'm sure he's fabulous, too.
Mr. Fabulous was a Pomeranian I used to know. Hopefully they're still... What? Sorry?
Sorry, Mr. Wonderful.
I'm sorry. Hopefully everyone's staying safe there in non-combustible environments. Hopefully our family is all safe as well, because they're not in the heart of it, but they're in the general area of the fires, aren't they?
Part of my family is, yes.
Yeah. It's scary. It's not a way you want to spend Christmas. Although they have put up their Christmas palm trees. They decorate palm trees.
My beautiful cousin has a Christmas palm tree.
The best part about Australian Christmas is the pictures with Santa Claus on the beach.
I love it. But he's still in his big red suit. It's not like he's in board shorts or, he doesn't have a surfboard. He's like the traditional.
Yeah. But he's
Santa.
He's on the beach.
They're all on the beach. And every year Santa. They do it.
That's so cute. Jillian and her gorgeous little family. We're almost ready for Christmas. Hopefully you guys are as well. If you're still doing last-minute Christmas shopping, you can still go to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com, and click on one of the Amazon links there on the left-hand side, and that will take you to Amazon.com. There you can then do your shopping, and we get a bit of a kickback from that. So if you're doing Amazon shopping, I think we, except for something you bought for the little fella, we did all of our shopping on Amazon, didn't we?
Yeah, except for your surprise.
Oh, stop it, stop it, stop it! It's so cruel of you.
So are you looking forward to 2020?
I am
You
with you.
feeling optimistic about 2020?
That's a good question. As you well know, I'm not a very introspective person.
Still surprises
I
me.
try to think about my actions because it just scares me.
It's true.
Try not to focus on the things I've done in the past because they're kind of scary. I'm definitely looking forward, as I always do, and I don't mean this in the patronizing, condescending way that it may come across, but with you. My life is better with you. My last year has been the best year of my life because of you. And so the future is going to be the same. We have our ups and downs. We have our issues with my stupidity. And money and all the other things that couples and families have. But overall, I'm looking forward to 2020 with hopefulness because of you. How about you?
Oh, yes, I feel good about 2020.
Any particular reason?
I think that we've done a lot of hard work.
Oh, you more than me.
And my son is doing really well, my oldest son, and I feel that my youngest will start to mature and he's very bright and hopefully he's having a hard time right now, but I think everything is going to be all right. And I think that there is good things coming for us.
The interesting thing for me is the fact that, I guess I don't normally think introspectively or think about the future because quite often in my life there hasn't been a good view of the future. I tend to be pessimistic about the future, but I haven't been for the last 2 years, and it's because of you.
Oh,
That I can see us doing. One of the great things about our lives together, and one of the things I'm thankful at Christmas time for, thankful at Thanksgiving for, is Melissa and I have fun all the time. Well, when she's not mad at me. I mean, tomorrow we're going to go into the big city, just an appointment for stuff. We're going to the big city, and I'm looking forward to it because I know we're going to have fun. I know we're going to enjoy ourselves. So
yeah. There was a lady even commented in Costco the last time we were there. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys are having so much fun. And it was, yes, we have a lot of fun. Yeah.
So that helps me look forward more positively towards 2020. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
I mean, I have health issues that I'm very worried about, but you know what? It's going to be all right.
I hope so. We were watching The Crown last night. We've been really enjoying The Crown. Amazing show, wonderful acting. And there was this very sad scene when the Duke of Windsor, for those who may not be familiar, he's the guy who abdicated the throne so he could marry an American, Wallace Simpson. And by his abdication, his brother became the king. And when his brother died, Queen Elizabeth became queen. So that's how she came to the throne. She wasn't supposed to be queen. She was never destined to be queen, unlike Charles, her son, who was born to be king. She was not born to be queen. So if you get a chance to watch it, I think it's on Netflix. It's a very good series.
It's very good.
But so last night, the Duke of Windsor was very, very sick, and he was dying. And there was this wonderful, such a sad scene when he had passed away, and his wife, Wallace Simpson, was standing there as a wife would. She's very sad and crying.
And very elderly.
Very
and fragile.
Herself was. She was too. And Melissa looks at me and goes, I want to die first. I'm like, what the hell? Where'd that come from? I don't want to be there. Oh, honey,
I'm dying first.
I'm dying first.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's not going to happen. She said, why not? That's because you're healthier than I am. You're younger than I am. You're a woman. Odds are in your favor, sweetheart. You're going to be around for at least 10 years longer than me.
We won't think about it. Like Les quoted an old marital therapy dictum. Did you see that? Men hope the women they marry won't change. Women hope they can change the men they marry.
That's that old line that a woman spends 20 years trying to change her husband and then complain that he's not the man she married. it's funny. It's one of the great things about being married to this woman is that she makes me more aware of who I am and the things that I do, both the silly things and the not so silly things that I've never had experience with thinking about. I apparently, according to her, I can be quite rigid.
He's funny.
And I don't mean in a naughty way. But I have these slight,
That's what he said.
like little teeny tiny OCD tendencies.
You do.
That things have to be done a certain way. And they're not bad things.
No.
You know, they're not like I have to tap on the walls 3 times before I leave the house or anything else like that. Just a little, like I have to eat my Kit Kat bar in a certain way.
Time is a big thing.
Time is a big thing.
Time
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And
But I've never
this
been
happens then, and this is what we do. Because we do that now, and that's what we do. We did it last time, this is what we do. And then I realized, wow, that's really important to him. Like,
Some of it's
okay.
nature and nurture. I mean, one of the things is that I find very funny. Never thought about it before until now is that I won't eat dessert before 8 o'clock.
No.
And I won't let the kids do it.
Damon's like, can I have dessert now? No! You have to wait.
6:30.
And Damon's like, because he wants his dessert. No, the rigidities and some things like that.
But for me, I mean, most of them, I hope, most of them are based in something like, for me, that part of it is when I was a kid, that's what my mom always did. And she always loved these chocolates called After Eights. I don't know if our American friends have them, but that stuck in my head. She always ate them after 8. They're these little spearmint chocolate things. I hate spearmint, but she always ate them.
They're like after dinner mints.
After dinner mints. But the other thing is, to me, why would you have in theory, a savory meal, pot roast and carrots and potatoes, and then immediately afterwards put chocolate in your mouth?
I have to agree with that.
You still get the taste of the pot roast in your face. I want to spend some time and
just kind of savor that for a while, and
exactly. And so 8 o'clock is a good time. But the problem is, I can only have dessert between 8 and 9.
Like if I said to him, "Oh wow, we're gonna stay up late. It's on. Do you want to have some dessert?" And he does this, looks at the clock real quick, and he'll go, "No," and I'll be like, "Why?" Things like that, people.
It's very funny.
Yes,
very funny. Anyway,
don't
yes,
let
we
him
are
in.
looking forward to 2020. That's right, because this is our last show. Hopefully, you guys are planning something interesting for New Year's. One of the things that happens as you get older is New Year's becomes less important. I think. I haven't gone to a New Year's party in probably 20 years. I have no interest in a New Year's party. I like being at home with family and just watching TV and midnight. Yay, kiss, sleep. Because we're old now. And we have no interest.
No, we're not old.
Oldish.
Older.
That's right. So hopefully everyone else is going to have a great New Year.
Why
as
is
well.
Monty saying I can't leave you loose unsupervised in the store near the silverware? I said I think you may be talking about tiny spoons.
Yes, that's the whole spoon thing where I had.
That's another rigidity.
Have to lick the spoon.
He'll have to explain it. All right.
I've never told you the spoon story. Why I like tiny spoons. You know why I like tiny spoons.
But Monty's saying no. It's not about tiny spoons. It's about something else. Okay, Monty. I'll ask about that. I don't think he remembers.
Anyway, later on the show, we're going to have Melissa's question.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ask the question before. I thought you
No, I
wanted
wanted you to.
Oh, okay.
So the audience knows. It's called a tease.
Sorry.
So they know what's coming up later.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the Internet of Things and security. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. All that and much more coming up. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here this Wednesday evening. On our phone, we got, as usual, our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Merry Christmas, Jim. You're in a bar drinking, so you must be having a good Christmas season so far.
I am not just in a bar. I am in the best dive bar that you have ever seen in your fucking life.
I love dive bars. Where are you?
So I don't even know if this place is on the internet because it barely has an address. But it's called the Saddle Room, and it's in Redwood City, California. And it is the best place ever.
They are listed on Yelp. So, oh yeah, it says closed, by the way.
Well, I think it will always say closed. So they actually have a bar out back. And the bar out back hasn't been open in like 300 years. I think the last time the bar out back was open was King Arthur came over, and but it's a great spot. I mean, this is a spot where everybody has their seat, and if you're sitting in that seat when that guy comes in, he doesn't sit somewhere else.
That's right, exactly. You get up.
You get up and move.
That's right. That seems absolutely fair, and actually does say that on the listing for it. It says the Saddle Room Bar Yelp Dive Bar is listed as a dive bar, so that's
oh yeah,
that's authentic.
Yeah, so it's also the type of place where you walk in, and I know the bartender here really well, but when you walk in, you either sit at the bar or go to the end of the bar to get your drink if you're going to sit out back or something.
Yes.
And the bartender will see you, and he will serve you when he's ready. So the more you wave your hand in the air or do that, the longer it's going to take for him to get to you.
That's right.
So you go in, you sit down, and he will get to you.
Yep.
He could be having a conversation with another regular. He could be mixing a drink. He could just want to stand there and flirt. Whatever it is, he will get to you when he gets to you. And no matter what you do, it's not going to speed him up any. So you are better off to just sit there and wait. Now, I come in and I raise my hand and I shake it and I say, can I get some fucking service down here? Yeah. Hello. And that just pisses him off even more.
Fair enough.
But he oh, there's the bartender right there. He's outside now. He's walking around. I don't even know what he's doing out here. He's just throwing bottles around and stuff. So anyway, that's where I am.
That's a good place to be. Today, Apple announced an agreement with Google and Amazon. They're teaming up for a smart home standard. Do you think this was an odd announcement to make, either from Apple's point of view or from Amazon and Google?
I thought it was a weird announcement all the way around.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody's trying to get people to adopt their thing.
Yep.
Now, is this a bad announcement? Probably not.
Yep.
But is it weird? Yeah.
Why do you think it's weird?
Well, because everybody has a different thing that to invoke what their products do.
Yes.
And how their products do them. And all of a sudden, all of the companies want to get together and make this universal. Yeah. And, it's like, wait, what?
Well, I think this is really odd for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't make any sense for Amazon and Google to cooperate and to help Apple. Apple is obviously in third place when it comes to HomeKit, when it comes to smart home stuff. The HomePod speaker is not as popular as Google's offerings or as Amazon's offerings. The other aspect of, so these guys are giving Apple a leg up, and there's got to be a fear, I think, in the executive suite of these two companies that if Apple is on a level playing field with these guys when it comes to connectivity of speakers and doorknobs and doorbells, Apple could overtake them from a design point of view, and people would then buy Apple products.
But Apple has been so far out of that mix for so long.
Yep.
I mean, isn't it reasonable to assume at this point that Apple is not going to go heavily into that? I mean, it seems reasonable to me.
But then you add on what Monty just said in the IRC chat room. Apple may be in third place for features and products, but they're in first place in security. Apple is not going to get involved in this thing. It's called Project Connected Home over IP. Apple's not going to get involved in this unless they can lock down security to Apple's satisfaction.
Well, yeah, and that's true. Apple is not going to get involved in something that isn't very secure. And maybe that's what the other two want.
Yep.
But I can't see it.
It's really
I can't see it. There's something else. There's something else here that we're not seeing.
The group will initially focus on physical safety devices, according to CNBC, that include smoke alarms, door locks, smart plugs, security systems, HVAC things, other consumer and even commercial devices would come after that. It's an odd partnership of those three companies in particular. There's other companies involved.
If I had a Google lock on my door, I wouldn't be surprised that Google employees would come rob my house when I was away.
That's right.
When they knew it was locked and I was out.
Yeah, and they knew you were away too.
Right. Hey, I'm away that door's been locked for 3 days. They're away. Let's go rob the place. I mean, that's what doesn't make sense to me about this whole thing. The fact that it could happen, I think, would be great for consumers. But the fact that these are the three companies involved in it just makes me shake my head.
Yeah. If you had told me this was going to happen, I would have said no. Apple's not going to jump into bed with Amazon and Google, because then they'll get painted by the insecure brush. I mean, Dave posted up on the Loop a couple days ago the story of how insecure Ring doorbells are. We've known for a while these things are pieces of crap when it comes to security, but we didn't know just how bad they were. And then Ring turns around and tries to blame the users. Oh, because they're not being secure. As my friend Jay Earl said, is if your users are constantly getting hacked, it's your fault, not theirs.
Yeah, and I have a Ring doorbell, and I got that email from Ring today, and I was looking at it saying, "Huh?
Yeah.
What? Really?"
Now, what email are you talking about?
Oh, I got an email from Ring that said, "This is what happened," and it basically blamed the user.
Yeah.
For having the same password or. And it gave you all kinds of advice on how to go about changing your password and stuff. Well, I don't think that's the problem.
That's not the major problem. That's not the biggest problem. The other issue is that the Vice article pointed out was that you can be logged in simultaneously on 3 different continents, as they did. Obviously, that shouldn't be allowed. Ring doesn't give you any notifications when other people are accessing your Ring account. We've heard the stories last week of there was an underground podcast that you could listen to where people were listening in on other people's Ring devices. It's utterly insane. First of all, why you would want one of these things in your home to begin with, I don't know. Why did you get a Ring doorbell?
So, well, where I am, I get a Ring doorbell because of the scourge of the earth right now, the porch pirates.
Yeah.
Is very bad in this area, and I wish that they would all be like drawn and quartered because I hate them. But that's why I had to get one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and to be perfectly honest. We got one because a friend won it and already had one, so they gave it to us.
Okay, cool.
So So I got it for free, but certainly not from Ring.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted some employee raffle or something.
Yeah.
And so they gave it to us. And, at the time, this was probably year and a half ago, maybe a little bit more. We were happy to take it. We installed it. It's outside. It's our doorbell now.
Yep.
And, great. So there's no cameras inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, the porch pirates those are the people that I hate the most.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Right now. I mean, I was scared to death. I ordered my daughter's Christmas presents. I was scared to death to leave the house until it got delivered.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's definitely something that is a hard issue to solve. I think that I've seen these. I don't know if they're very popular, but I've seen these things where people can have a lockbox outside their house.
Right.
And if your porch is big enough, the guy can come and he'll send you a text message and say, "I'm here." You unlock it remotely. He drops it in there. When it closes, it locks up again. But yeah, I think the biggest frustration is that quite often you hear that the police aren't willing to do much about this kind of thing. The NASA.
No, that's right.
The NASA
that's right.
engineer who posted up the Glitter 2.0, where he's got these booby traps that he's placed around his home in the country, where they blow up and they have fart spray and glitter and all that kind of stuff. He did this because he had a doorbell that showed video of the person, and the police wouldn't do anything about it.
Right.
So if there's no consequences, porch pirates are going to run free through your neighborhood if
Right.
the police aren't willing to help you stop them.
And I get it. I mean, this is, it could be a $5 item. It could be, $300 item.
Exactly.
Who knows?
That's right.
But I get it from the cop standpoint. I understand that. But the fact is, I truly hate nobody more than those people right now.
Yeah.
And I pity the person that comes up and tries to steal a package from my porch when I'm at home.
No kidding.
I pity that person.
That's right.
Because you know what? You're going down.
Yeah, I will chase your ass down to the neighborhood.
I will chase your ass, and when I will beat your ass.
I will beat you with the package you stole from me.
Yeah, and it's probably Kleenex or something. So, but seriously, I was just beside myself for my daughter's Christmas present.
That makes sense.
And I shouldn't be like that.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be like that. But, so does a Ring doorbell help? I think so. But now, the porch pirates are covering up their faces and they're doing all this other stuff. And, but.
So does that mean that the next step for you will be to allow the UPS guy in your house?
No, never.
Because that's
not going to happen.
Why?
No, that's not going to happen.
But that's the solution. Why wouldn't you let that happen?
The next step for me is a baseball bat. I can't go that far. I just can't. I mean, that's just inviting disaster in my opinion. I think that at least in my area, the same UPS and FedEx and USPS drivers deliver the packages. And a lot of times, when they see that there's not a car in the driveway or that there's not, obviously somebody home, they will go out and they'll put the packages behind a door or fence or, something like that. So they understand that there's a problem too. It's not their problem. Yep. It's ours. So, but I am not going to allow that to happen.
I'm lucky in that the situation where we live, it's a very small town. We've never had anything taken off the porch. We've had deliveries that have got lost in transit because they have to come out here to the boonies. But so far, we're very lucky in that. The thing I find frustrating is that our delivery guys will just drop things off instead of knocking at the door or ringing the doorbell. They'll just drop it on the front porch and then walk away, and I won't know until I get
Well,
an email notification or something like that.
no, but see, that's where the ring helps too, because you get notification that somebody is at your door,
Yeah.
or close, and I appreciate that as well. So, you know that there's somebody there,
Yep.
and then I'll look out the window and wait for somebody to come take it.
It's definitely a problem that every delivery company is thinking about. Amazon, I know, is working on it. Their solution right now is to have you allow the delivery guy in his house, and I understand why some people don't really like that idea. So it's going to be interesting to see how and if this problem gets solved in the next three to 5 years as all of us start using online services and delivery services more and more, not just for Christmas time packages, but for food deliveries and other things like that.
Well, and that's the thing. Here in the Bay Area, people rely on Google Shopping. They rely on food. They rely on all kinds of different things for delivery. So there could be a constant delivery to your home in the Bay Area, because this is where a lot of it starts. Google Shopping and Google whatever, Uber, Amazon Fresh, and all these things. You can get groceries delivered. You can get almost anything delivered to your home on a daily basis here.
Yeah.
So it's a constant thing where you're always worried about somebody coming up and stealing your stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And it bothers me. It really does. It really bothers me.
Did this bother you? The Verge, Walt Mossberg came out of retirement to write an article. Tim Cook's Apple had a great decade, but no new blockbusters. Everyone respects Uncle Walt, but what did you think about this article?
Okay, so there's a few things about this that kind of bother me, and I understand what Walt is getting at. Was there a new iPhone in the last 10 years? No. No, there wasn't. There absolutely wasn't. But look at the Apple Watch and look at things like the AirPods. I mean, those things are making billions of dollars a year.
Yep.
So in cash-wise, they are their own companies.
Yep.
So is that a blockbuster? Could be. I mean, that could be. But when you're talking a blockbuster product, tell me who has had more blockbuster products since the 2000s? Who has made a product in the last 10 years that has been able to make, what would the Apple Watch and AirPods be? A Fortune 200 company?
Walt says each of its 5 business segments will be a Fortune 500 company on its own. So put it at whatever level there you want.
Oh, okay. So, but that is incredible in its own right. Yep. So did Tim fail? No. The stock is higher than it's ever been.
Yep.
The revenue and profit is higher than it's ever been. The products that they're releasing are better than anybody could have imagined, because, and don't forget, you can take, not just Apple Watch and AirPods out of there, you can take iTunes out of there, and all of these, iPhone out of there, Mac out of there. You can take all of these separate things out of there and make incredible companies on their own.
Yep.
So I think if you look at the word blockbuster, and to me, as sad as it seems, to me, that's what this whole argument comes down to. Was there a new Mac? Was there a new iPhone? Well, no, there wasn't. So in that case, he's right. Is that a fair way to look at it? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
because.
Go ahead.
Look at that. I mean, most companies come out with a blockbuster product once in their history.
Yep.
maybe twice. Apple has done it multiple times. The Mac, the iPod, the iPhone, the Apple Watch, the iPad. I mean, they have done it so many times. Is it telling that they haven't done it in the last 10 years?
No.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think so. And how many times have you and I talked and said, at least I've said, if you're making billions of dollars in profit in a quarter, you are not a failure.
That's right.
I don't care who you are.
That's right.
You are not a failure. You're making billions of dollars in profit, not revenue,
Yeah.
profit.
Yeah. Well,
You are not a failure. People still think that Uber is a successful company, and they report losses.
Yeah.
So
Uncle Walt's article said Apple has grown huge. Its fiscal 2019 revenues were 6 times the size of revenues in fiscal 2009. I think the problem with the article is not only everything you said, but the word blockbuster. Apple has had several very, very successful products that every other company in the world would give up significant body parts in order to be able to have one of these products.
absolutely.
What Walt is saying is Apple hasn't come up with an iPhone level blockbuster in the last 10 years. And I was surprised to read Walt saying that, because this is an article I would have expected from some college student writing for The Verge or for iMore or Cult of Mac, and not a grizzled old veteran of technology like Walt Mossberg is.
Who should know better?
He should know better, because he knows that the iPhone was a lightning in a bottle situation. It was a perfect device at the perfect time, and they've iterated it through the last 10 years in amazing and incredible ways. And we all need a phone. We don't all need a watch. We don't all need AirPods. So the iPhone is by its nature going to be a bigger device than those other devices, because those other devices rely on the iPhone. So for Uncle Walt to say that Tim Cook isn't as successful as Steve Jobs was simply because Tim Cook hasn't come up with another iPhone, I think is hugely unfair to Apple as a company, and certainly Tim Cook personally.
I don't know that that's what Walt was actually saying, but he was.
Yes.
It's kind of one of these things where he said it but didn't really say it, and, plausible deniability and all of that. But he actually kind of did say it, and it bothers me because of the success that Apple has had over the years, and where maybe some of the focus was for Apple over the years. And when we look at, and I realize this is the small things in the big scope, but when you look at the interoperability between that was a big word. Between the Mac and the iPhone and iOS and WatchOS and Apple TV OS. I mean, that to me is a major, major thing. Whenever I go to the search box on my Apple TV and my phone comes up and says, "Hey, do you want to type in a search term?" Or, you can always use Siri or, whatever you want. But the interoperability between those things is a monster move for Apple. And I understand that that's not what makes Apple billions of dollars, but it is. It is. Because if it's easy for everybody to use, then everybody will use it. And I had such mixed feelings about that article, because I know what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
I just don't think he said it very well.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, Time Magazine came out with their most important gadgets of the past 10 years, and I think there was 4 Apple products out of the top 10.
3.
I'm sorry, 3 Apple products. Yes, sorry. The iPad, the Apple Watch, and the AirPods.
Right.
The iPad, it can be argued, is probably hit peak iPad. It'll still be a successful product, but it's not going to get any bigger in sales. The AirPod and the Apple Watch are still continuing to get bigger and better and more features and more sales and those sorts of things. How can you say that there's no blockbusters when you have devices like this that everyone raves about. There's no bad things to be said about the Apple Watch. It's destroyed the smartwatch segment. The AirPods have pretty much decimated the higher end of the wireless earbud segment. The iPad, as we've always said, there is no tablet market. There's the iPad and everything else. How Walt can say that the company isn't as successful, if not more successful, than when Steve Jobs was there is a little disconcerting.
Well, I think, honestly, here's how I see it. I think Walt is looking at the fact that the iPhone absolutely changed the way that we looked at communications.
Yes, I agree.
And there is no doubt that when the iPhone came out, the way that we communicate with people drastically changed.
Yes.
And it changed immediately as soon as that product was released.
Yep.
Now, has Apple released a product that has done that in another category?
Yeah.
No, they haven't. But I don't think that it's fair that you would expect Apple to release a product like that changes the global way that we communicate. I don't think that that's a fair ask. So did the iPod change the way that we listen to music? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely did. I mean, we remember the creative MP3 players that held 10 songs, and then you had to change over the songs in your computer, and you had to go through all this crap. The iPod held 1,000 songs. That changed the way that we listen to music.
Yep.
The iTunes store changed the way that we listened and bought and music and videos. So has there been anything like that? No. So this is what I was saying earlier. To me, this all comes down to the term that he used in Blockbuster.
Yep.
So if you take Blockbuster to that one term in a product to its height and say this is a Blockbuster product, has Apple reached that? No. But there are a lot of other factors that go into making, in my opinion, to making a Blockbuster product.
And as Les Posen said, I was going to say it to you too, but Les said it in the RC chat room. Who else has done any of this? No one else
Exactly
has come
right.
even close. The only company I think has maybe even slightly come close from the point of view of mindshare might be Tesla. From the point of view of everyone knows who and what Tesla is, and it seems to have jump-started the electric car market, but it hasn't nearly had the effect of the Apple Watch, the iPad, the iPhone, the AirPods.
So look at Dave and I actually talked about this today, and I said for a Blockbuster product, you have to look at mass adoption of that product, right? And that's what Apple had.
Yeah.
So to me, one of the products that has done that is Ring. Ring has had mass adoption.
Yeah.
And they have changed the way that we look at doorbells because of the ease of use that they've had and everything else that they have going on at Ring. I think that is one of the Blockbuster products of the last few years. So that is something that that I would put up there as a Blockbuster product. Is it completely safe and no, well, maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, from what we're seeing. But is it a Blockbuster product? Absolutely. You cannot argue the mass adoption of Ring. Cannot.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Overall, in the past decade, we've got to say that Apple is a hugely successful company. There's no doubt about that. Did Apple have a good last year? Did they have a good 2019, in your opinion?
Well, I think the 2019 for Apple was all about Pro.
Okay, yeah. AirPod Pro,
So,
MacBook Pro, Mac Pro, sure.
right. So for me, that was a huge thing. I mean, we talked before about the Mac Pro and the people whining about the
Yeah.
price. And, just stop. Stop whining about the price of the
Yep.
Mac Pro.
Yep.
Um, was it a big year for Apple? I think, like a lot of years with Apple, it was a big year depending on what group you were in.
Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of it is.
See, I think Apple for 2019, I'd give them a B, maybe a B plus. They did a lot of good things. They had a lot of mistakes software wise, weird bugs, buggy
Well,
software they released, iOS 13, that kind of stuff. So there were some missteps, not huge missteps. The company is again
but
ridiculously successful.
but you're going to have those missteps. I mean, tell me any software company and any developer that you've talked to over the last 20 years that has released software and said, "Yeah, we knew it was a bit buggy."
Yeah.
They all know that, but there are certain things that you cannot control, and the configuration of users' machines is one of those things.
Yeah.
You just never know what some user has. And that's why we keep having updates on software and apps, not just from Apple, but from other companies and individuals that make apps, iOS and Mac, that they're continually updated because there are things that they just can't predict.
Yeah.
So I'm not so worried about bug updates as I am about security updates when it comes to Apple. If there's something in there that is really a problem, I get concerned about that.
Yeah. I don't think there's a whole lot to be concerned from that point of view. There are minor things that we've seen, we've heard. I think they've gotten a handle on iOS 13, which seemed to have gotten away from them a little bit this past year. We don't know yet what they plan for iOS 13 or the next version of the iPhones, but the future of Apple looks very good. 2020 looks like it's going to be another good year. There's no reason to believe that Apple's not going to continue on this path. I don't remember if we talked about this on last week's show, but Tim Cook said he doesn't want the iPhone to be what Apple is remembered for. To me, that seems to say that Apple has got something or some things, plural, coming in the next, say, 2 to 5 years that at least Tim Cook believes will be bigger than the iPhone. Do you read it the same way?
No.
How do you interpret Cook's statement then?
I think that Tim wants to be known more for humanitarian things like that, not for the iPhone. I think Tim wants to be known for protecting users and not for, I think what he's saying there, in my opinion, is that he doesn't want to be remembered for a single product.
Yeah.
He wants to be remembered for Apple's overall contribution. And that goes beyond a single product. To me, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I can see that's a good interpretation of it. I hadn't thought of it that way, which is one of the reasons why I have you on the show, because you think bigger than I do. Well, no, it's true. You always have. To me, it seems to point to Apple is. He says, if you ask me what Apple's greatest contribution to humankind was, it will be in the healthcare area.
Yep.
So I think that speaks a little bit to what you're saying when it comes to privacy and data security and things like that. But to me, it also points to a series of devices and software and actions that Apple is planning on in the next 2 to 5 years that will merge all of our health data, all of this sort of disparate computer systems and software and systems to better be able to for us to better take care of our own health. Tim obviously sees what they have in
Right.
the labs. He sees what they're planning in 2 years and in 5 years. I think that's giving him the encouragement from that point of view, from the health point of view. I don't think Apple will ever change their name to Apple Healthy or things like that, but it sounds like he thinks that's where the company's legacy is going to be.
Well, I think that Apple, as it stands right now, has multiple legacies that it could do. But I think a lot of it is going to come in certainly health, but a lot of it is going to be, with Apple as a company. And oh God, I hate to say it like this, but a company for the people, a company that protects users, and a company that wants to put things out there for the betterment of users. And I'd say that, in regards to Apple Watch, I think that that's what Apple wants to be known for. And I think that's pretty close to what they will be known for. Will the iPhone be there as, part of this monstrous spike? Absolutely. So will the Mac. So will the Apple Watch and the iPad. And some of the smaller products as well. I think iTunes, depending on what market you're looking at, iTunes will be the biggest in the music industry. So there are a lot of different ways to look at this, but I get what he's saying.
It's going to be an interesting year for Apple. It's going to be an interesting year for all of us who follow Apple. Do you got any big plans for 2020?
2020. Let's see. What do I have? No.
Just gonna keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. There is one topic I'm surprised you didn't bring up.
What's that?
That I posted today called.
Oh shit! I knew I was forgetting something.
What?
Service journalism.
Service journalism. Yes, I'm surprised that you didn't bring that up.
I completely forgot, and thank you very much for reminding me, because I did want to talk to you about that. You say the article isn't specifically about journalism, about tech journalism, but all journalism. Jim says, I believe in reporting the truth without bias about any topic I write about. Isn't bias okay as long as it's either obvious or serves the story?
I don't think that bias is okay. I think that what you need to do is tell the truth. Bias, I don't think, is one of those things that is okay to report. Bias may be okay in an opinion, but not to report. And I think that has been lost. And, as I said in that article, I find myself disagreeing more and more as time goes on with writers that are writing articles. Not because I necessarily disagree with them, but I question why the article was written in the first place.
Is that because of a suspect maturity on your part, an increase in knowledge about the subject matter, or is it just because there's just more of it and you notice it more?
Well, look, I mean, I've been reporting on Apple now for 25, 26 years. And I have called Apple out probably more than anybody else that is reporting on Apple. I've called Apple out on some of the password problems, or the fact that iTunes deleted your home folder, or Apple Music, or any of these things that have gone on. I've called Apple out, and I've never been afraid to do it. Because I think that is why people come to the site. They believe that what I'm telling them is the truth. And that's what I'll continue to do. And I think that's why they believe anything that we post on the loop is about either something we truly think is interesting,
Yeah.
or something that we want to educate people on. And if it's a new product or if it's something that's happening in technology or Apple, this is what we believe. Now, you can disagree with me. That's great. I think that's a good thing. But it doesn't mean that your opinion or my opinion is wrong. I'm basing mine on fact,
Yeah.
and I assume you are as well.
Yeah.
So, that's where this shit goes. I don't think that a lot of the things that are written these days can stand on its own. And that truly bothers me.
Yeah.
And it's not just about technology, it's about everything
Yeah.
that's written. I mean, a reporter shouldn't be influenced by politics, and it shouldn't be influenced by somebody with a lot of money that wants to pay you to say something. It should be influenced by the truth.
Yeah.
And if you're researching which new pan to buy for your for your kitchen, that should be influenced by the truth. If you're talking about the new uh, iPhone, that should be influenced by the truth.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that that's what's happening a lot these days. And people are getting sucked into, whatever is being posted.
I think one of the issues I have, and always have, and will have even more so, is that so much of what we see is opinion reported as truth, and that's
Right.
always gonna be a problem.
Right.
I don't mind opinions as long as the opinions have a basis in fact and knowledge. Then your opinion is fine, even if I disagree with it. But we see
Right.
so much stuff, especially in the tech media, that is written because of an agenda, whether it's for affiliate links on Amazon or whether it's
Exactly.
because they're a sponsor of your show or they give you a suite at CES, or that's the next thing that's coming up, folks, is CES. And keep in mind, we're going to see a lot of reporting on CES that's influenced by the companies, the products, the people who the reporter is supposed to be talking about.
Right.
We'll see
a lot of it.
a lot.
A lot.
You will see. I know there are websites that will say, now we're going to interview so and so, and then you find out that so and so was sponsoring the website or the podcast,
Right.
or things like
Right.
that. And those things, when they're not declared or when they happen constantly, makes the every other bit of reporting from that company, that website, suspect. And it's a
Yes.
problem because the audience doesn't know. And I wanted to bring up
Right.
this last point that you said. We need to help readers understand the information we write about. How do we do that? How do we inform the readers of the tenets of journalism, of how to think about things critically, how to look at information and see that it's from a biased source or a bad source? Can we do that in the loop? Is there any way that we can do that?
You know, uh, I actually read and reread that story that I linked to multiple times before I actually posted it, and I read and reread my thoughts on that story more than anything else that I've written in a long time. Um, just because I wanted to make sure that I was being honest with myself.
Yeah.
And I truly want to be honest with the readers of The Loop in everything that I post. So I want to make sure that they understand that this is what's happening and this is how I feel about it. So there's fact and opinion that are intertwined in these things, but to me, there's not a lot of separation. I mean, you know, when Apple deletes your home folder, which it did with iTunes years and years and years ago,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of separation between fact and opinion. You screwed up here. You need to fix this. Yep. I mean, that's the way it is. So Apple Music, you screwed up. Don't do this. So, I mean, I think a lot of what can we show our readers that we are trying to educate them and in turn be educated by the readers. Yeah. Can we do that? I think we can, and I think it's just with plain honesty.
Yeah.
Really, that's all I think it is.
The irony is that honesty is sometimes the hardest thing to find on the internet.
Well, and that is a major problem. Yeah. It really is. I mean, can you go to a site these days where you say that honesty is, every post is about an honest thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you do that? And I think very few people would be able to say that yes, they can. Yeah. And I would like to think that the readers that come to us can say that. Whether it's you talking about the photos of the year, yeah, or how you feel about the photos of the year, or a music thing that I post, or a development thing that Dave posts. Yeah. I would like to say that people that come to the Loop can say, yes, I think that what he said is true. Yeah. Absolutely true. Because that's how I write it. And I think that's how you write it. Yeah. You post some things, I'll be honest, you post some things that I cringe and say, I just don't agree with you. But that's your thought on this. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I've never tried to influence the way that you post. And I think that should show people, and that little thing that I don't say, okay, if this is going to be about, Apple or Adobe or whatever, you can't say these types of things. Yeah, yeah. I've never said that to you. Yeah, I want you to have your opinion on things.
We don't show up every morning in a Slack channel and have Jim tell us, all right, today we're all going to write about Pokemon, as some websites do, and they end up with 75 stories about Pokemon that day because some search engine optimization has told them we'll make more money for our website if we can say Pokemon 75 times today. We never do anything like that.
Never.
There'll be
I wouldn't know how to set up a Slack channel if my life depended on it.
There'll be weeks where things will go by where Dave and I and Jim don't even talk to each other. We're just writing whatever we want to write. We're not directed to write the way we want to because of the marketing department or because of search engine optimization or because of a sponsor coming down the road. Don't say bad things next week about this company because they're going to be advertising. We have no idea. I have no clues advertising.
No idea.
On the Loop. And don't write that way.
And that's the way it should be,
exactly,
in my opinion. But that's not the way that it is when you look at journalism these days. And again, for people that are listening, think outside of the tech space and think about politics and think about business and think about pharmacy and think about whatever it is that you're into and you like to read, because we all like to read different things. I mean, that's the type of thing I think that we have to be really careful about. And if I came to you and said, hey, Shawn, I don't want you to write about the 2019 photos of the year because they were shot with a Canon camera and we have a sponsorship with Nikon, so I don't want you to write about that at all. I think that would be just unfair. Unfair to you, unfair to the readers who would like to see the 2019 photos of the year, as I would. I don't care if they're shot with an iPhone, with a Nikon, with a Canon. I could care less.
That's right.
I just want to see them. And you have expertise in that area that you can bring that out. Dave has expertise in an area. I have no expertise, but I ramble. So, but really that's what it's about to me.
Well, hopefully it was a good year for the Loop in 2019, and a good year for you personally, and hopefully here's wishing you all the best in 2020. We won't have another show again until January 8th, so God knows where we'll be, but I hope that you and yours have a fantastic Christmas and a very happy New Year.
You too, Shawn.
Thanks, buddy.
And thank you to everybody that's listening. I really appreciate you putting up with me over the last 15 years?
At least 15, if not longer, for crying out loud. Thanks, Jim.
Jesus, it was supposed to be a 1 week thing.
It was. You're doing me a favor.
I know, right?
And it became a job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Folks, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Melissa about her question of the week. But up next, right now, we're going to do our Christmas greetings from you folks in the audience. I really appreciate the folks who did this. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's Vito and Prince George wishing you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and everybody at YML.
Hi.
Happy solstice to all of you at YML, including Shawn, from me and my smarter half.
From the Gare family in Humboldt County to the King family and all of our friends on the Your Mac Life show, Merry Christmas.
Hi Shawn, it's Monty Freeman in Atlanta, Georgia, wishing you and the entire Your Mac Life family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas!
Hi, this is Dave Dykestall, wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a great New Year, too. Might as well. I mean, we're all going to be here, I hope.
Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed that. Thank you very much to all the lovely, kind people who sent us Christmas greetings. I think Scott Thrifts was the in Australia was the funniest one with him, Mr. Wonderful. And is it Agnes?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? I'm sorry. I'll show it to you later. I'm sorry. And Vito and Becky in snowy Prince George with their Tesla, which he's ridiculously proud of. So now we have the question of the. I have a question with Melissa. Melissa, what is your question this week?
I already told you what it was.
I know, but for those folks who may have come in later.
Okay, so I'm wondering if there are security issues with, what did you call them? Not Wi-Fi. What were they?
They're called IoT devices, Internet of Things.
Okay, that was my question.
And basically, yes, as we said earlier, anything that connects to the Internet has an inherent security risk. The only way to stay safe on the Internet is not to go on it. Unless your devices are set up in a secure way, then they can be accessed by bad guys. Because it's the nature of what the Internet is. It's that I click on a button and it sends a request for information to a computer somewhere, and that computer then sends that information back to us. The nature of the Internet is it has to be allowed to have that data flow back and forth. And bad guys can intercept that data flow. They can look at it. They can piggyback on it and then get into your data. So when, I don't know if you remember this, but when Wi-Fi first started, we first started having internet Wi-Fi in your home. It was the coolest thing ever. Everyone left their Wi-Fi networks open. You could access anyone's Wi-Fi. There was this thing called war driving, which was literally driving around your neighborhood with your laptop open, seeing how many unsecure or no password protected Wi-Fi routers there were around. So you could access them. You could tell friends they could get Wi-Fi here. You could, and people would actually put marks on sidewalks that would tell you this spot you can find access to this thing. That's very rare to have that happen anymore. Most 95% of the Wi-Fi networks I see now, when you're just wandering around your city or your town, have got a padlock on it, have got a password. That doesn't mean that those are secure. If your password is easily guessed, the bad guys can still access it. And the problem is, if they can get access into your router, in theory, they can then get access to everything that attaches to that router. Your phone, your laptop, other devices. If your light bulb connects to the internet, and some do, you can have light bulbs that you can, as you're driving home, you can push a button on your phone that will send a signal to your home Wi-Fi that will turn on your light bulbs. That's great, because when it's dark like it is here at 4 o'clock, you come home and your house is lit up. But what that means is that light bulb is an access point for the internet for bad guys. So always have to be worried about this kind of stuff. And one of the things that we talked about earlier with Jim is so many of these companies don't care very much about security for the user. And users find security to be a bit of a pain in the ass. They're looking more for convenience as opposed to security. Because the most secure thing is the biggest pain in the ass for users. The less secure, the easier it is for users. And there's that balance that you have to have where security is balanced with convenience and usability for the users. Right now, it's out of whack. Users want convenience more than they want security. And that's what gets people in trouble. This Ring doorbell thing that we were talking about earlier is a perfect example of that, where the bad guys have found ways, because the Ring doorbell doesn't have good security. Bad guys can access that doorbell and watch the video, watch the live video, watch the recorded video, watch your neighborhood, watch you as you leave your house and know that you've left the house, and now I can go into your house. So when we were looking for fancy schmancy light bulbs, I was specifically looking for ones that connected via Bluetooth, not via Wi-Fi. And they're very hard to find, because most things now are connecting via Wi-Fi, because the convenience of that outweighs the security of that from both a user and a manufacturer point of view. But I prefer Bluetooth because it's localized to the house. We don't need to turn on lights from outside of town or from another country or anything else like that. We don't need that kind of access. So I prefer for our devices to be dumb devices for the most part. Another example is people will the price of big screen TVs has plummeted in the last 5 years. When I bought my TV, 51 inch, it was over $1,000. Now you can get 65. We've seen them at Costco. You can get 75 inch TVs for $500. Just ridiculous. but they're smart TVs. What that means is the TVs are hooked up to the internet, and that means that those TVs can be ads can be sent to them. So the manufacturer can now access your TV over the internet and send you advertising. If they can do it, bad guys can do it too. And some of these TVs have built-in microphones and built-in cameras, supposedly for ease of video conferencing. But if it's got a built-in microphone and a built-in camera, bad guys could conceivably listen in and watch you while you're sitting in your bed watching TV. So I refuse to have a smart TV in my house. If I want a dumb piece of glass, but have smart things connected to it. And that way you're a step away from the insecurity of a smart TV. So keep that in mind. Anything that can be connected to the internet is a security risk, depending on the level of commitment the vendor has. And a lot of these devices, especially these Wi-Fi security cameras, are made cheaply because they're using components and software and chips from Chinese manufacturers. And it's been shown that a lot of these chips are from the same company or the same small group of companies, and those chips are insecure. They can be easily hacked. They can be easily manipulated by outside forces. So be careful with no matter what kind of Wi-Fi security you have. Be careful of it. One of the reasons why I like HomeKit, Apple has their this cookie cutter thing where if you build devices using HomeKit, it's easier to attach other devices to it. But Apple hasn't done very much with it, but it's a good system in the sense that it's the most secure system that's available to us right now. But Apple just doesn't have enough devices, doesn't have enough manufacturers building devices, light bulbs and home stereos and TVs and refrigerators and all that kind of stuff. So it is an issue that's going to get worse as time goes on, because as users want more and more convenience of these devices, they're less liable or less knowledgeable about security, and they're just going to buy the cheapest one they can find, or the Amazon one, because they get free shipping for it, as opposed to taking a look at it and finding out what the issues are with it.
Thank you.
Our friend Scott Randall says, hey, Shawn and Melissa, I really could not think of what to do on video, so I'm sending both of you, your boys, this holiday greeting. Being Jewish, we celebrate Hanukkah and not Christmas. It is interesting how both holidays fall about the same time of year, although they are not related at all. I think the most important thing is that all of us, regardless of religion, race, or ethnicity, should use this time to realize that we are all the same. The most important thing is spread the love. Maybe that will serve to eradicate some of the horrible things people are doing to other people all over the world. My friends and I always wished each other the best for our relative holidays all year long. One of my dear friends always said, we are all more similar than different. If people would recognize that, the world would be better. So here it is to your family and all of the Your Mac Life listeners. Happy everything.
That's lovely. Thank you. Happy everything.
Happy everything. It just covers everything. Don't worry about happy. There was I saw a wonderful thing on Facebook where someone was pointing out all the greetings. Happy Hanukkah, happy to, and the response is thank you. Now, whether you are that person or not, whether you're Jewish or you celebrate Festivus or you're an atheist or whatever it is, if someone's sending you good wishes, accept them.
Oh, yeah.
Just accept them in the spirit that they're given. Don't get offended. Oh, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in Christmas. Shut up. Just say thank you and move on. Mm-hmm. We can't. I remember being very embarrassed one day when I said to, in Vancouver, we have a very large Asian population and a very large East Asian population. I remember getting out of a cab and paying the cab driver and saying Merry Christmas to him, because that's what I do. And he had a turban on. He was a Sikh, and celebrate Christmas. And I was like, Merry Christmas. Oh, shit, dude, I'm sorry. And he was like, don't worry about it. Merry Christmas to you, too. You know?
Yeah. Oh, my father-in-law was Jewish, and he celebrated Christmas bigger than anybody I've ever known. Doesn't matter.
When it comes down to your personal beliefs and the way you do whatever it is you do around this time of year, that's fine. But recognize that we're all different, and as Scott said, we're all also the same. Someone is just wishing you well this time of year. That's all they're doing. They may be using different words. They may be saying Happy Hanukkah, maybe saying Merry Christmas, maybe saying Happy Festivus. But the meaning behind all of that is They want you to have goodwill and peace towards all men this time of year. Should be all year round, but we do it this time of year.
And women, yes.
And women, sorry. My apologies, and women. But that's all they're doing. They're not trying to impose their religion on you. They're not trying to
Nope.
force anything down your throat. 99% of the people who make that statement are doing it with kindness and joy and generosity, and you should accept it that way too. My little Christmas rant. I got an email. Emails. Ivan Marshall, please. By the way, just to let you know, every single sentence that Ivan sent has an exclamation point at the end of it. Shawn, please stop disparaging the users of the new Mac Pro. I'm not. I'm disparaging the reviewers of the new Mac Pro. You and Jim were very dismissive and made unfounded assumptions about Marquez Brownlee, Jonathan Morrison, and iJustine. You don't have to max out a Mac Pro to be the customers that Apple aimed this Mac Pro at. Again, exclamation mark every single sentence. For example, Mr. Brownlee's Mac Pro is way above the base model. Apple knows that they will sell many more Mac Pros without 1.5 terabyte of RAM. By the way, Mr. Brownlee's Mac Pro is above the base model because that's what Apple gave him for review. Apple didn't give any of the reviewers the base model. Mr. Brownlee's Mac Pro at 384. He is recording in 8K as a video editor. Is using a $40,000 Red camera. Uses Final Cut Pro daily. Has millions of dollars of equipment in his studio. Has 9.9 million subscribers with $500,000 in cameras alone. I don't care. He's a YouTuber. If he's shooting YouTube video in 8K with a $40,000 Red camera, he's wasting his time, energy, and money. Why isn't he and iJustine pros that need and can use the Mac Pro fully? Would a Rolls-Royce customer be undeserving and just a fanboy if they didn't get every option? You and Jim seem jealous and out of touch. Mr. Brownlee's work is just as demanding as Vincent LaFlorette. Sent after careful consideration from my iPhone. I like the tagline the best. And by the way, Ivan, thanks very much for the email. I appreciate your thoughts, and I appreciate that you disagree with me. But if you're shooting YouTube video, you don't need a $40,000 Red camera. It will not make a damn bit of difference. It's all going to get downsampled to YouTube anyway. So if you're using those kinds of that kind of hardware, it's overkill. It's pointless overkill to do that. Vincent LaFlorette isn't shooting these videos for YouTube. He's shooting them for customers that ask him for these things that are going to be shown in movie theaters or whatever it might be. My problem with Brownlee and Morrison and iJustine wasn't that they were getting Mac Pros to shoot YouTube. It was that they can't, doing what they do, and you saw it on their videos, max out. They can't show a Mac Pro at its best, unlike Florette, unlike Marie Chevalier in Calgary, who's a scientist and who's going to try to max out all the cores of these machines. They're YouTubers. Scott Randall was also taking me to task for the iJustine comments too, and I don't care how many users, subscribers somebody has. I'm not jealous because I don't use a Mac Pro. I couldn't use a Mac. Apple could send me a Mac Pro, and I would go, I can't use this. There's nothing I do that will make any difference with this Mac Pro. So it's no relevance. I'm not jealous of the Mac Pro or the fact that I can't afford one. It's the message that Apple is sending. I'd rather see them have pros in that field reviewing pro devices. So if this is a machine, as Apple says it is, for video and audio pros, then show me video and audio pros reviewing and maxing these things out. Not some YouTuber like iJustine. I'm sorry, iJustine is not going to max out a Mac Pro. Anyway. Someone wrote, has anyone actually seen one of these Apple Pro Display XDRs? Is it really worth $5,000? And I wrote, if you need a Mac Pro, you need a display to justify the work you're doing. Comparable monitors start at $10,000. That's what a lot of people are complaining about, this beautiful new monitor that Apple's got, that one version that requires a special cleaning cloth. It's $5,000, and they got a ridiculous price for a monitor. Well, it's because we can buy monitors for $200. We can buy monitors for $500 that are good quality monitors. these are not monitors that you would use for your web development. These are not monitors that you would use to use Microsoft Word on. These are what are called reference monitors. And their color fidelity and their color accuracy and all kinds of other things I don't understand justify the price for these Video Pros. I've seen these things that cost $40,000 for the monitor alone. So Apple charging $5,000 for a reference monitor that's comparable to at least a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 monitor means that's a good deal. Maybe you can't afford it. I certainly can't. Maybe you can't see the value in it, but pros can. People who do this stuff for a living can see the value in it. We got an email from Scott when he sent us the Christmas greeting. He said, here's a link to my Christmas greeting. Hope it's okay. We'll be cruising down the eastern seaboard on our way to Tasmania next week. So I wanted to wish you and all the YML listeners and my redheaded goddess of love. Oh, dude. Jeez. My redheaded goddess of love. He's talking about her. He's flirting with my wife. This shall not stand.
He sent me a beautiful picture from Port Arthur. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that's in Tasmania or near Tasmania?
Tasmania.
In Tasmania. Wish you all the best for Christmas and the year to come. We'll be thinking of you, shivering your way through the season while I sip a cocktail in the spa on the back of the ship. Scott Thrift, Sydney, Australia. Thank you, Scott, for that. I appreciate you sending us that Christmas greeting. That's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks, as always, to our good friend Jim Dalrymple. This is the last show of 2019. We won't be doing a show next week because next week is Christmas. Hopefully you'll have a wonderful, happy, fun, safe Christmas. Also, we won't be doing one the week after because that's New Year's. And hopefully you'll have a happy, fun, safe New Year's as well. So our next show will be on January 8th. So until then, I want to say thanks to you guys for being tuned in this past year. And thanks to all of you for subscribing to Your Mac Life, for sending me emails, for everything you've done for and with me in the past 12 months. And hopefully you'll continue in the next 12 months. Until next year, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!